Hello and welcome to Designing Adobe XD, or as known today, the Beard Show, Designing Beards with Adobe XD. No, just see if you couldn't tell right from the beginning, but yeah, I am your host, Talon Wadsworth, coming to you every week here on Designing Adobe XD to kind of expose you kind of to the team, kind of how we work, how we design Adobe XD, and I am joined by the newest designer to Adobe XD, that is Ashrith Shetty.
Hello.
Thanks for joining me, Ashrith, today.
My pleasure.
Very gamely decided to come on with me last second. Ashrith is our intern for the summer here on Adobe XD, so I'm really excited to have you on. Trial by fire, just gonna throw you right into it.
Yeah, really excited to be here. I mean, I got my internship literally at the last minute, so I had to rush to SF.
That has been like that's been the story the whole time. Yeah, it came right down to the wire. What's going on, everybody, in the chat today? Of course, there's our man Howard Pinsky hanging out with us as always. What's going on, man? How's it going, Scott and Lindsay? Got, of course, the Adobe Live crew, here hanging out with us today. Tim, what's up, man? How are you? Catalina. How's everybody doing? How's your Friday? You guys doing some good work, designing some cool stuff, maybe in Adobe XD? Of course, we love hearing your questions, so you guys have any questions at all for us, let us know. No, go live there. Exactly, Howard. That's exactly it. Welcome to Adobe. Now you're live. Yeah, it's just like I said, trial by fire. We're gonna throw you in all the situations, and we're gonna be judging you, of course, on your response. No, okay. Just joking. This is a very welcoming environment. All these lovely people here in the chat, they're excited to talk with you and hear you talk about XD and the team and your time, so far as your journey as a designer. So I thought maybe we'd start there a little bit. Maybe just kind of let's talk about you. Introduce yourself a little bit. What have you been up to? How did you get into UX design? Yeah, tell the chat a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I was a computer engineer. I started off my career as a coder, and while I was working with designers on Android front end, I figured that I wanted to work on products end to end. Whereas as a developer, there was only one part of it that I was involved in.
Yeah.
And so this was a smaller company that I started out at. So I was starting to overlap. I started to do a little bit of design work on the side. And eventually I thought, hey, it's time to make the switch before it's too late. And yeah, the last 3 years I've been working at various Indian startups as a UX designer. But somewhere I always wanted to do that master's degree. Because I was a self-taught designer and moved in learning everything on my own from YouTube and from other streams like this.
Yeah. But so you went to school for computer science originally, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Undergrad. Yeah. And now I'm doing a master's in HCI.
Nice. So where are you at doing your master's?
I'm at the University of Maryland.
Yeah. Tell us about what attracted you to the program there? Because sometimes maybe we have maybe people who are looking to get into UX, maybe students out here. People are always asking me, why should I go to school to learn design? What attracted you to the program in Maryland, and what made you feel like you wanted to go get that master's and go to school for design?
Yeah. So a lot of my classmates in school are also asking me the same thing, like, hey, you were already in a design career, like, why did you need to do this?
Yeah.
And the thing was, when you're working every day, like, you sort of get into a rut that, okay, I'm just doing this day to day, but you will not go out of your comfort zone and explore something brand new.
Yeah.
And for me, that reason was, okay, now I'm designing for web, I'm designing for mobile. What other interfaces are there? What's the novel interface that's coming up, and am I prepared tomorrow if those interfaces come up? So human-computer interaction as a field for me was a way to do that. So every project I've been working on at the university, I've tried not to just make a mobile app or not to just make a website. Say I've dabbled in voice interfaces. We tried to make a car dashboard that was combining different interfaces. Like say, okay, touch isn't perfect for car. What do we do next?
Yeah. Well, that's. I think that's a great point. I think that you can get really locked in to either one way of working or one solution And I think, if you don't have that foundational sort of understanding of the core concepts and ideas underlying design, and particularly for interaction design, I think that it can limit you, and I think it can limit you what you can do, and also I think it limits your work. And I think that going to design school in general is a way to kind of get that broader view, right, and be exposed to the sort of whole range of what it means to be a designer, particularly designed for interaction. And actually, it was one of the reasons why I really loved your work. Is some of those projects that you were working on, you really showed that you were tackling the problems of interaction in a holistic way, and you were thinking about different platforms and different devices and technologies, and also thinking about data, about its impact, on the products and services that we create. And I think that was all something that really, again, the things that I recognized in Ashra's portfolio. And even though it kind of came down to the wire, the minute I saw your portfolio and we had a chat, I was like, I mean, and we're lucky that you've been in the computer science, industry, and you've done that work, and so which means you have a great understanding of those concepts. So that's also a benefit. But yeah, pleasure to have you on.
Great to be here.
So great. So we've been chatting a little bit about kind of our journey. What's going on out there? Ashrith, question for you. Lindsay, are you on Behance?
I don't have much on Behance though.
Yeah, not everybody. You should. Yeah, maybe he work on that. But you can. Is your website out there on your Twitter?
Yep.
Yeah. So go and follow Ashrith's Twitter, and you'll find a link to his work. In particular, I think my favorite one was the how you were visualizing the categories of music. That was a really great sort of project. So go check that out.
Howard's asking me to do dark mode.
Just select all, and then just go to the picker and pick black.
Yep.
Done. Look at that. Yes, indeed. So Ayushi says she's on a similar path as well. Well, great. Thanks for joining us, Ayushi. Love to know where you're headed in your career and what school you're headed to. I said, of course, internships are a huge part, I think, of learning. And, Ashrith and I, I remember I actually ended up working in the place I interned for. And it's a great way to, while you're going to school to, get a sense of the real sort of working environments and sort of that right fit for the team, and that was another thing that when you and I chatted, we just kind of had a great conversation, just clicked, so it was good. So today, I thought this would be a great time to, again, I've been working on XD now for a little over 4 years, and I was there right from the very beginning, and then there's a lot that I've kind of, internalized and things that I think about in a certain way, and it's always helpful for me when new people join the team or I'm out there talking to the talented designers kind of out there in the world. I like seeing XD through their eyes because I feel like I learn something new and I can really challenge a lot of my perceptions or my sort of preconceived notions of how things should work. And I'm actually just kind of interested, from you, things, kind of your experience so far with XD and kind of, maybe an area where, we always like to design, of course, on the stream. And so maybe there's something that, maybe you and I could think about and maybe kind of riff on a little bit in terms of things that you've thought about or run into and that could be better. Or, maybe I haven't. Again, I'm really interested to hear kind of your kind of thoughts so far.
So, full disclosure, I wasn't an XD user.
See, not a prerequisite to coming and working on the team at all.
But yeah, I guess that was a good thing when I came here because I was getting a new perspective on this. And as Talon said, he's been here from day one and he's so used to, he's built all these features from ground up. So for him to get a new, fresh perspective on it is a little hard. So for me, the first thing, yes, a lot of the shortcuts weren't matching and everything. But yeah, those are the smaller things, right?
Yes.
But yeah, as I've started using it and just the discovery process of some of the amazing features inside was like a great journey for me. I was like, whoa, I never knew to do that. Stuff like that. And then there were some things I would go and tell Talon, like, hey, we should have this. And he's like, it's already there. So I was like, oh, maybe I haven't found it yet.
Good learning. I'm like, oh, then how could it be, how could we make that better? Yeah. One I've been thinking a lot about, and like, have you used the repeat grid at all? Has this been something that like it's my favorite feature? And again, this is where I really have a bias, right? Like I designed and helped get a repeat grid into the product itself, and like I love it. But it's one of those features that like if you're not used to working that way and you're not sure how it applies to you, it's hard to pick up. And that's something that I've kind of learned over time. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff, and that's where I'm always I love challenging those ideas and being like, oh, actually, we could do this better, So, yeah. So have you used it? Have you used something like Repeat Grid? Have you guys similar?
So I had used Repeat Grid before in Sketch, but so that's why I didn't realize that, how different could it be here? I mean, it would be the same feature, right? So I think one of the coffee chats we were having, you were talking about it. So much excitement, so I was like, okay, let me just check this out, see what's so different about it. And this was completely like redone from the ground up. It's nothing like a feature I've seen in any other tool before, and it's so intuitive, so easy to use. So yeah, Repeat Grid, I'm kind of a fan now of that.
Good.
But that got me thinking about the other features that we take for granted. We're like, okay, these features have always been done a certain way in every tool we've seen. Yeah. So how about we rethink it from the ground up?
What was, there was, you were mentioning also like there were like a lot of your onboarding with the team and in collaboration with the team has been, right, making sense of and using some of the pieces in the established language and system that's kind of already there. Like you kind of had some ideas about maybe how a couple of those things might be a little better, like things that you had been running into, and again trying to like use some of those system components. And maybe this is kind of a thread we could kind of work on a little bit, kind of riff on a little bit as we were, as we're here chatting.
So so assets and components. So our assets panel that we have on the left here. Yes, we're promoting the use of design systems, and we're saying, we want to make it easier for every designer to just come in and work with his team's design ecosystem. But what I personally faced here was, unless I knew the name of that particular component I was using, it was hard for me to find because we just have this tiny thumbnail on the left side. So I was thinking, okay, what if we can get like a brief preview mode of each component to see, okay, is this the component I'm looking for? Oh, yes, it is. Because right now the only thing I can do is drag it onto the screen and then check if that's the right one. Or what I did, because I had multiple screens at my table, I opened the source file on the side and I was looking at that. And then I was like, okay, if I need to have the source file open, then what's the need of the assets panel in the first place?
Yeah, that's really interesting because the assets panel, its role, right, is much more of a utility role. It's like here's all this is the palette kind of at your fingertips, right? But yeah, once you get you get maybe a lot of elements in there, you get some elements that are a little larger and that just don't display well at that size. Right, it can become challenging to find the thing you're looking for, and we have search and we have some filtering, but I think you're saying something that like, well, why do I have to like do the action just to know what it is, what's there, drag it out? So what would like how you can like what's I always love to like design on the fly, but like let's talk about like how would you make that better? What are some things that like you've seen that maybe can help in those kind of other patterns you sort of recognize kind of out there in the world that have helped you like preview this before I use it. Let me see this before I open it, right? Like that is something that I think if we're working in computers all the time, like if this is my file drawer, how do I make sure it's the right thing before I go and use it?
So when I was thinking about this problem, one of the first things I thought of was like the preview mode in Macs. So when I open, say, documents, and there are all these files, and I just hit the space bar to pop something open. Just to check, hey, is this the image I want? Yes. And then I can just use it.
Totally.
And like, it's become part of my muscle memory now. I don't have to think about it. I just go to select a file, click space bar, oh, that's the one, and then I use it.
That is kind of one of those considerations that we do a lot when we're designing a feature is we say, okay, what are some things like this that are out there? You know, like what are things that we can build on, you know, when it comes to muscle memory or, you know, establish sort of patterns of working that we can actually help onboard people to new features by utilizing like that sort of built-in knowledge that people have of the rest of the ecosystem or maybe another tool. You know, you mentioned the shortcut thing, you know, and like, yeah, if you're coming from Sketch, maybe the shortcuts don't all line up. But if you come from Illustrator, I will say that Illustrator's shortcuts have probably had a little more influence on us in XD. But yeah, that can really help get over some of those, you know, onboarding or stickier moments of learning a new tool, because I think that's the real thing that I've come to respect is that, like, you know, people, you know, like they invest a lot of time to learning new tools, and it can be very disruptive. And so the more that we can do, I think, to help onboard, you know, using existing patterns and the like, can really help, you know, people get used to it and be aware of like new features and new ways of working.
And also a bit of balance is required to know, okay, what part of it should we like make exactly like they used to, and what should be something novel. Like, is that balance between, oh, okay, these are existing habits, but we also want to introduce new habits, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's a fine line to walk between those two things. Some other people sort of commenting here. We got some new people to XD. Today, of course, we're not going like super deep on tutorials, but if you want to go have a look at a great resource for learning XD, he's here in the chat, but I'm going to tell you to go check out letsxd.com. And Mr. Howard Pinsky here has been making some amazing video tutorials. You should all go check them out. I learned some stuff when I see Howard work and the things that he's doing, so go check it out. Let's see. Paul Trainee is here. I don't know if you met Paul, another one of our great evangelists. Also, Paul's been doing some amazing. This guy's he's an illustrator, painter. Okay. That dude is amazing. So. Some other people sort of, Ahmed had a question, GIF support in XD. We're working on it, Ahmed. Working on it. Challenges abound. Mainly, we don't want your file to just start exploding in size as you're dragging in content and media. So we're working on a solution. Maybe, hopefully I'll have an update on that a little later in the summer, we'll see. So, so how would you? So let's maybe go and look at that pattern that you were talking about on the Mac OS in the Finder. I don't know if you had one. Let me see if I have one up real quick. We can go check it out. All right. So Jim, we're gonna switch over to mine here. So, all right, I've got this folder of images. Again, my utility is I need to see kind of everything that's there, right? Because that's an important sort of part of my process to be like, okay, I need to find what I'm looking for. It might be in this set. This is sort of the whole of this set, and that's important context for me to understand, right? This is part of this folder. Maybe there's a theme going on here. Maybe the pieces all fit together, but I'm like, I need to find that specific one. So everybody knows, you know, hit the space bar, and there we go. Now I've got this. Again, I can find the one that I want, and then when I've got it, then I can just easily just drag and drop it, right into XD, right? So I think that's a great idea. Like saying like, is there a similar pattern here? So I'm going over here, and I can select them, which I don't know if everyone knew that you could do that. You can actually select the elements in the assets panel. I'm hitting the space bar, and I'm almost like my brain like wants the preview to pop up. Like I feel like that should happen.
And not even like just using your arrow keys to move the selection.
Oh yeah, like that's not doing like there too. This is one of those. These are some of those like quality of life things that I feel like sometimes get overlooked because we're constantly pushing to do more features and to establish more workflows in XD. And this is the nuance that I think really matters when it comes to productivity, right? Yeah. So if you imagine like we could take our sort of screen here, just put a little quick representation of. We're using the, of course, XD UI kit. This is the same sort of wireframe UI kit that we use sometimes to concept new features here on the team. So if I have the assets panel open, and then we've got our thing here. And let's take off that, and we'll round the corners a little bit. And then we'll, of course, repeat grid right there in action.
Never gets old.
never does, never does. It's so good. There we go. And then we had a selected state here. Blue, right? So what you're imagining is kind of something kind of like that, pretty much, right? Like just a nice sort of like a nice big preview of that. Of course, put a little shadow on there, right? Bam. There we go. Nice, look at that. And then do we have another, we have some symbols here. Let's grab that guy here. So again, you already see like, that's our thumbnail. And we're like, what is that? Oh no, where'd it go? There we go. Can we see it? Do we see it? Here's a question for you. Is accuracy important when it comes to the size? You know, so one of the things, so if you noticed on the OS here, that's previewing at 100%.
Yeah.
Right, of the resolution, like of that. So would you expect to see the component in kind of its, in a zoomed in fashion?
100%?
Or would you think like 100% would like do it?
In this, I don't think we need to see it at 100%. We can have that pane at a fixed size and just scale it to fit.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I mean, because those sometimes can kind of make or break, you know, some of the features that we're talking about is if, you know, again, like people are, because again, that's going to influence, you know, how it's going to display once you drag and drop it, you know, out of the panel, right? Like how it ends up on canvas, like those are a lot of the like details that we'd be thinking through as we, you know, like maybe, you know, of course, had a little more time. But I really love this perspective, and I can, you know, Ashrith, you being on the team brings so much energy to me, like just being able to sort of again see XD through some fresh eyes. So I'm really excited that you're on the team. We're gonna do some cool stuff.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, so we're gonna say, you know, we find a few other people show up. I wanted to say hi to Zarya. What's up? Great to see you as well on the chat today. Celia, Katerina, what's going on? Katerina, we have a little side gig we need to chat some more about, and I'm sorry, I've been swamped with email. This is a time when we're getting ready to go out on summer break, and things just like people go crazy. It gets really intense here at Adobe before we head out. So I'm gonna be out next week. Someone else is gonna be filling in from the team. One of the other favorites you guys know and love from the team will be filling in for me, and then of course we'll be out on summer break. So I probably won't see you for a couple weeks. So I hope you all have a great weekend and, you know, holiday if you're here in the U.S. 4th of July holiday, and you know, always hit me up on Twitter, even though I might not be at work. I'm probably on Twitter. Go follow Ashrith. Go hit us up. We love seeing the work that you're doing, and feel free to always, you know, give us feedback and let us know how things are going for you. So, all right, everybody, have a good one. See you later.
Yeah.